Hi, everyone, and welcome to Charity Champions, the podcast where we shine a spotlight on the people behind the UK's most impactful charities, the founders, leaders, and change makers who keep our sector moving. I'm your host, Emily, from Charity Recruit, and today I'm joined by someone who's built something truly brilliant for the young people across London. Kieran Connolly is the founder and CEO of Sports Fun for All, the largest provider of free football in the capital. And today we're talking about the hustle, the vision, and what it takes to keep showing up when the system says slow down. So welcome, Kieran.
Hello, how's it going? Thank you for the introduction.
All right, well, I hope it. Good, I'm glad that you like the intro.
Yeah,
I'm really
definitely.
keen for our listeners to hear all about your journey and all about what's brought you from where you started to where you are now, as founder and CEO of this amazing charity. So I guess over to you, if you can give us an overview as to how you've got to where you are today.
Okay, well, it's quite a long story, but I guess so. I started coaching football at 16. So I was at a football college program, and they put us onto our level ones as part of the program. So I did my level one. I then went on to do my level two, but I didn't finish it because at that point I wasn't really that serious, probably about coaching, to be honest with you. At that point, I was still I was coaching a Sunday league team called Orpington Eagles. I wasn't attending the matches, so I would just do the sessions on Friday evening, but we didn't have to go to the matches. That wasn't part of the role. So I guess even at that age, I was 17 years old, coaching my own Sunday league team, which was quite a big thing for me, to be honest with you. At
What
17
age
years
was that team?
old. They were under nines.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So yeah, it's quite. So I guess it's similar to the coaches that work for me now. They're coaching people around that age group when they're under 17s. So yeah, so that was the football coaching, and then I kind of stopped that because I left the club that I was playing for, and then I did one more year of college, didn't do any football coaching. But I guess to give a bit of context, so I went to Bromley College. I studied BTEC National Certificate in Sport, but in my first year at university, first year at college, I did A levels. That was kind of what was told that we need to do when I was in school. But I did A levels, flopped my A levels completely, wasn't serious about them at all. I think I was just so happy to have made it through my GCSE because that was such a struggle for me. And when I went to college, I kind of just let loose and was just like, I was attending all my lessons, but I just wasn't doing any revision. I wasn't doing coursework. I don't know, I just wasn't serious about the subject. I think it was just like a chance to finally just, I guess, let loose because the last 2 years have been so intensive. Because some people pass their GCSEs quite easily. I wouldn't say it was easy for me. I had to kind of really knuckle down to pass them. And then, yeah, so then I did A levels for 1 year, decided to drop them because the A level course was moving to another college. I didn't want to move college. I didn't really want to carry the A levels on anyway. So I spoke to a lot of the boys in my club. They were doing the BTEC in sport, and it sounded like a really good course. It was sport. It was only sport, all coursework, and it just seemed, yeah, it seemed like the college could deliver that course well because they didn't deliver the A levels well. We didn't have a media tutor for 6 weeks. Loads of other things happened. It was just not very well run in terms of the A level program, but the BTEC sport program was well run. So yeah, decided to do that. I found out I could get into university with it, which was quite important. I thought to myself, I want to go to university. So yeah, did BTEC National Certificate in Sport, got a double distinction in my second year. Yeah, so in my second year, I got distinction in everything, and I'd got the highest grade that anyone had ever got. But the course had only been running for like 7 years in the college, but I still got the highest grade that anyone had ever achieved because I think I just like was really serious. So in that third year of college, so my second year of the course, I was doing college 3 days a week, and I was working part time as a lifeguard, like 2.5, 3 days a week as well. So I was really knuckling down. I started driving, so I began to kind of take my life more seriously by this point.
So you always knew that you were going for a career in the sporting arena then? It was always in your plan?
Yeah, I think so because I got the only A I got was in GCSE PE as well. I mean, I've played football my whole life. I wasn't really interested in any other sport. I'm not one of these people that enjoyed other sports. I didn't really enjoy any other sport. It was just football. I was good at cross country. I won 800 meters in sports day because I was fit, but that was a byproduct of football fitness. It wasn't because I was training for that. So yeah, and then at the time, my tutor Malcolm, he was speaking to me about this thing called sports development, and he said, "Oh, it's a really growing field." And I think because it was 2005 at the time, and I think Britain was applying for the Olympics, to host the Olympics. So he was like, "Yeah, this is going to be a really growing field in the next few years. I think you should go and do that at university," because the other options were like teaching, physiotherapy, sports science, them kind of things, which didn't really interest me. To be honest with you, I was like, sports development sounds like more my cup of tea. So yeah, I applied for 6 universities, and pretty much all of them were outside of London because I was kind of thinking to myself, I want to leave London. I need to kind of get away and like get a change of scenery, a new environment, and meet different kinds of people. But obviously, I've been in South London my whole life. So I went to look at 3 unis. I went to Chester, Manchester Metropolitan, which is in Crewe Alsager, and Staffs, which is Stoke-on-Trent.
Yeah.
And I'd say Staffs was, even though, I guess Stoke isn't necessarily like the most affluent area or nice area in the world. When I went, I was like, okay, I think this is the one that kind of reminds me of London a bit.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it, how you get that feeling? It's a bit like when you buy a house or when you buy a job. When you go to look around a university, you do get that vibe as to whether you think you can see yourself there. And it's really important, that gut feel, I think.
Yeah, so I remember when to Chester and we walked around the town centre, me and my mum, at 5 p.m. and it was a ghost town.
Right.
And I was just like, what is this, man? This is, why is it so empty? It's just weird to me because I'm from London. Like, I'm not used to this. And then when I went to Manchester Metropolitan, it was a Crewe Alsager campus, so it just seemed too kind of far out from everything. So I went with Stoke, went to uni, did sports development and coaching. That seriously, to be honest with you, I could have done a lot better. I would say I only really started taking it seriously, like really got my head down in January of 3rd year. So I don't know if this is what you want to hear on the podcast, but this is kind of the reality of, I think when you go to university outside, away from home, you have to have a lot of discipline and be really, really focused because there's so many distractions. And with me, I was still attending all my lectures and getting all the work done, but I wasn't going above and beyond. I wasn't pushing myself. Whereas when I was in college, I'd really kind of push myself. I want to get the best grades possible. And even in terms of like, I wasn't doing any coaching on the side, didn't have a part-time job. So I wasn't getting any kind of hands-on experience of coaching. So what happened was, first year of uni, I went back to London and had a part-time job in retail. Didn't enjoy that at all, hated it. And then, but what had happened is the sports tutor said that there's this opportunity to go to America to do football coaching. But I kind of hadn't taken it seriously. And I just said, no, I'm going to go back to London. But then what happens in life, you have to experience something to realize, okay, this is what I need to do. So in 2nd year, I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to America. There's no way I'm going back to London this summer to do a dead retail job. Like, I'm just not interested in it. And I need to get some hands-on experience coaching because I'm not doing any coaching at university. So yeah, so it was with Challenger Sports. At the time, I don't know about now, but at the time they were the biggest provider of British soccer coaches over to America. So they were sending around 700 coaches to America across the whole of the US. So everywhere across the US. So what happened was there was like all these assessment days across the UK, and again, not really taking my life that seriously at this point, I would say. I waited till the final assessment day, which was in Durham University, which is near Newcastle. And at the time, no one really in university drove, but my friend who drove, he drove up there. We slept in the car park in his car outside the football pitch. It was like a 3G football pitch. And we got there like, I don't know, 2 a.m., slept in the car, and we woke up the next morning and just got on the pitch and did the assessment. And he wasn't even meant to be doing it. He just drove me there as like a favour. And then he ended up joining in. He didn't even do sports. He was doing IT or something, but he ended up doing this assessment and ended up going to America as well. So
amazing. Was it just a look of the draw where you got posted in America then, or did you say,
No, I don't think you could pick. So I went to Atlanta and he went to San Diego. So we were
Oh,
in
wow.
completely different parts. But so anyway, we got through. I wouldn't say the assessment was that hard. I think they needed as many coaches as possible. It wasn't like I was really great at this point as a coach. And then they did a training day at Warwick University a few weeks later. So there was like, yeah, however many coaches there, hundreds of coaches there, and there was like people from my primary school there.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
yeah, other people from my university. It was just so many people there, and
Wow.
then basically you got so the area that you were going to be in. So we were in Atlanta. All the kind of South coaches, we went and did our training together. They did a graduation ball that night, and yeah, so it was like really exciting. Do you know what I mean? 'Cause I was just thinking, oh, this is going to be wicked. I've got something to look forward to this summer. Not going back to London to do like a dead retail job. So anyway, yeah, went out to America for the summer. It was for 10 weeks. And honestly, to this day, it's still one of the best things I've ever done in my
Oh,
life.
what a great decision.
Yeah, it was amazing. So what would happen was every week you'd stay with a different host family. And say, for example, there would be like me plus maybe two other coaches. So we'd start off in Atlanta and then you drive to the area, say Sunday morning, you get to your host family. So we might all be staying with different host families. But then one person's got the car but the families basically they get their child to attend for free by having the British
Yeah,
soccer
the
coach.
coach stay with them.
Yeah, but it's not even really about it. It's like an experience for them getting this British soccer coach, stay with them. And so I stayed with 8 or 9 families in 10 weeks. And
Wow.
I'd say pretty much all of them had like kind of detached houses, 7, 8 bedrooms, their own grounds. Some of them had private lakes, golf courses. They ran their own businesses. For the first 2 weeks I was there, I didn't even eat a home cooked meal. It was just out every
Really?
day.
They go out every day?
Yeah,
Wow.
like you get treated like a king over there, and everything's paid for. And then what happens is every Saturday you go back to Atlanta, you meet up with all the other coaches, you might go out that night, and then you kind of get posted to your new family the next day. And so you maybe like 3 weeks in a row you work with one coach, and another 3 weeks you work with another couple of coaches. And yeah, so you get to work with different coaches. I worked in Mississippi. I went there by myself, so that was crazy. Tennessee, Kentucky, South
Wow.
Carolina.
What an opportunity. What were you then, 21?
I was 21, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was a year
amazing.
later in uni. So yeah, I was 21. Yeah, it was amazing. We went down to Panama City for Independence Day for that week, and it was like all these British soccer coaches there from all across the US. And yeah, it was, and I guess my friends used to say to me like, "Oh, why are you so intense with your coaching?" Because the others, that maybe they weren't as taking it as seriously as me, but I was like really coaching them hard and like taking it seriously and working on my own coaching ability as well, I guess.
That's brilliant. When you say intense, what did they mean by that?
Like I was just, so my sessions were intense, not in terms of like ripping the young people or anything, but just like it wasn't laid back. I was pushing them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is even kind of went on to how I used to coach later on. 'Cause I guess with me, if I'm going to do something, I feel like as much as possible, I need to try and do it properly. Although that's what I said about uni, but yeah.
And was that a drive from your own personal point of view to get the best out of you, or was that to get the best out of the children?
I think a bit of both. I think like I'm very passionate about football and I like to see it coached properly. And I believe if you're coaching a child football, give them the best opportunity to improve. So I've had some really good coaches that have taught me a lot of stuff. So let me try and pass on that stuff to someone else. It's not necessarily about making them a professional footballer, but just giving them the best opportunity to improve. And just I'm very passionate about football as well. I guess maybe there was things in uni that I wasn't that passionate about. When it comes to football,
Yeah.
improving players, that's something that I'm very keen on.
So that time in America, did that then shape where you went next?
Not I don't know. All right, so I'd say when I went to America, at that point I thought I wanted to be a professional football coach. So
Yeah.
that was kind of my plan. I'm just finished second year of uni, and then I remember this isn't really a good thing to do, but I remember speaking to someone that was a UEFA A coach at the time, who was a year older than me in uni, and he said how he was struggling to get into the professional games. I was like, okay, forget that. Like he's got UEFA A, and I'm only level 1, and he can't get into professional football, and he's a couple of years older than me. So I was like, all right, that's not going to work. So now I was like, okay, I'm going to do teaching because that seems more reliable. So yeah, I think when I came back from America, I wasn't really thinking about going into professional football coaching. And I think that was kind of short-sighted of me, to be honest with you, because now there's loads of people that want professional football players that have got into the professional game because they've really stuck with it. So I guess really maybe deep down I didn't really want it enough.
So what did you do when you got back from America then? You came back, did your final year?
Yeah, did my final year. Again, didn't do any coaching on the side. I did my university work placement, but I didn't take that seriously at all. I'd go there and I'd like be assisting the other coaches, but I'm not really leading. It's just, yeah, I wasn't getting the most out of the opportunity that was there. So I finished uni, got a 2-2, didn't get like a great grade, and came straight back to London. And I guess this is where something that I'm quite good at is getting jobs. So when I came back, I think in April or February or something like that, but I started applying for jobs before I came back.
Yeah.
So I was applying to all the youth services, all the sports development teams within Lewisham, Southwark and Bromley, the local areas where I'm from. And so what that meant is when I came back, I managed to get a job working on this summer program at this adventure playground in Ladywell in South London. So I did that for the summer. That went all right. That was kind of a different experience because it was youth work rather than sports coaching, although there was a lot of sports coaching involved in it. And at this point, I'm like, I know this job's a 5-week job, so I'm applying for loads of jobs. So I managed to get a job at Lambeth College. And this was a bit crazy because it was like, I'm 22 working in a college full time, and the job was running the college gym. So I had no gym qualifications. Obviously, I think I had common sense about how to train and do fitness and use the machines, but I didn't have any formal qualifications. But I went into the interview, kind of sold myself to the person, and she was like, "Yeah, the person's on sick leave. Like, we need someone to come in and run the gym. Can you do that?" And I was like, "Yeah, cool." So from September 09 to July 010, I was there for 10 months, and I was 22 years old running this college gym. And there's people coming to this gym that are like in their late 20s, 30s, 40s. And it went well like that. There was never any issues, and it was in Wandsworth Road, which is kind of like a bit of a rough area. So it could easily have been things, but there was never any trouble there. Got on with everyone, ran it very well. But again, that wasn't what I'd gone to university to study. The money was good. I think coming out of uni and getting the money that I was getting, that kind of covered the cracks a bit because I don't think this is really what I wanted to do. So I left there in the summer, went back to work for Lewisham Council again at another adventure playground, this time in Brockley. So again, that was just for the summer. And then I'll never forget, it was beginning of September 010. I didn't have any jobs. And then my friend's brother called me. He worked for Southwark Council, and they used to do football coaching. It used to be called Southwark Community Games. So I went to have an interview for them, got the coaching job. But the job was like 6 hours a week, and it was like £7 an hour. So it was way less than what I'd been earning. So I'd kind of gone up to go down again.
Yeah. And
then I managed to get a part-time coaching job. So I was coaching part-time with Millwall at the time. I was doing 6 hours a week for them, and then these hours with Southwark. So I had like 12 hours a week. So I'd gone from working full-time to now getting paid £7 an hour through 2 different jobs. And it was just like, oh, this is rough, man. So at that point, I'm applying for loads of full-time jobs, going for interviews, getting rejected again and again and again, but kept on applying. Got a job with Southwark Council and working in the youth club there, and Fulham as well, Fulham Kick Programme. So I'm doing like 3 jobs at the same time, driving all around London. And then finally, I kind of got a break, and I got a job at Crystal Palace Community Scheme as a full-time role as like a social inclusion project officer.
Okay.
So yeah, that was kind of beginning of 011, and that was like, okay, finally, this is kind of the thing I wanted to do, where it's a bit of coaching and a bit of sports development as well. So that was like, okay, I've got a full-time job. I've got one place I've got to go to pretty much every day for work. I've got a contract. I'm at a football, it was kind of like, okay, finally, I've got
things were sort of coming together for you now at this point.
Yeah, those 4 or 5 months were tough. Yeah, you know what I mean, driving to Kingston, driving to Southwark, driving to Westgate, driving all over. So yeah, I got the Palace 011. Yeah.
So how have you gone from that to Sports Fun for All? Talk us through, that sort of where the idea came from, what the concept was, and how you went about achieving that.
Yeah, so I was at Palace for 2 years. At this point, there was still no sport fund for all. But what I do remember, so at the time, I'm delivering the KICS program, which is basically the model that sport fund for all use now, is free football sessions in the evenings in community facilities for young people from prior backgrounds, underprivileged areas. So at this point, I'm delivering in Bromley, Penge, Annerley, and I remember saying to my old manager, I was like, "Oh, I think I'd like to do something like this myself," kind of putting it into the, I guess, into the world that maybe I'd want to do something like this one day. But at this point, I had no idea how I would do it because I just didn't understand the whole structure of how things work. So yeah, I've left Palace end of 012 and gone to London Youth. So this is my first job outside of South London, really, where I'm going into an office every day. And now I'm not doing any frontline delivery. So at Palace, I'm still coaching, whereas London Youth now I'm a sports development officer. So I've moved away from delivery now. So this is the end of 012. I've stopped coaching, stopped doing frontline delivery work. I was at London Youth for about 2.5 years. And I'm like thinking to myself, yeah, I need to set this organisation up. And then I went to London Sport in June 2015. And then when I was there, my role was a club support officer, which basically meant helping loads of grassroots organisations with funding, governance, coaching qualifications. And what was happening, and I was giving all these organisations all this support that I know kind of like what they need to do. But I'm telling them what they need to do, but they're not doing it because they've got full-time jobs or they just haven't got the time or they're not motivated enough. And now it's like, you know what? Why am I spending all this time trying to help other people? I may as well set up my own organisation. Is everything all right?
Yeah, all good.
I just saw the screen go black. But I was like, I may as well set up my own organisation and use what I've learned, because I know how to coach and how to get funding. I know those little things, so I may as well set up my own organisation. So I registered Sports Fund for All, the company, around 2015. Didn't do anything with it until September 2016, and that's when I applied for some local ward assembly funding, and that was the first. So September 2016 is the first time Sports Fund for All ever delivered anything.
Wow. So 2016 was the go moment. And talk us through the journey then from 2016 to where you've got to now, because this is the most fascinating bit for me. Obviously, your path is great and it tells such a great story as to how you've got to where we are now. But from our listeners' point of view, you know, we're really keen to understand how you've taken it from that concept right through to now delivering these amazing services across London. So what's that journey been like for you?
It's been crazy. It's been crazy. And I never thought it would get this big, to be honest with you, because, like I said, I had a full-time job, so I was running Sports Fund for All. So
this is all in your spare time at the beginning.
Yeah, so from September 2016 until March 2020, when COVID came.
Yeah.
So we were doing weekend sessions at Foster Memorial Park, and we were doing one evening session a week, and that was it. So I was working Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and then working on the weekend coaching and doing one evening session, and it would be myself. And I'll be at all the sessions. If I had to go on holiday, I'd get someone to cover. And that was like massive anxiety, because are they going to turn up on time and run it properly? And then throughout that period, I'd have like one coach with me, and that was it. So it was called Sport Fund for All, but really it was just Kieran and whoever the assistant coach was. And that's the reality, because the period after that, when I stopped doing the coaching, it was a big transition phase for parents, for the young people, for myself. So what happened was 2019, I shut Sports Fund for All down as a company and registered it as a charity.
Yeah.
And then within that lockdown period, I applied for funding to a local housing association to run the free football project back at Downham. So when COVID finished now, after the third lockdown in April 2021, so basically for a whole year, Sports Fund for All didn't really do anything.
Yeah.
There was a few little gaps here and there where we started back on the weekend sessions, but it'll be locked down again. So you may as well say for like a whole year we didn't really do anything.
Yeah.
In April, but in that time, what I managed to do, I guess, is set up payroll, apply for funding, register as a charity, get uniform, just get infrastructure in place. So it kind of worked out well in a way.
So lockdown was that time for you to sort of get all your ducks in a row, get everything, all that sort of back office stuff all ready, so that when you were able to get out there, you had everything in place by the sounds of it.
yeah, not everything, but a lot better than what it was before, where it was like me, it was almost like a one-man band. Now it was, okay, I've managed to recruit a few coaches, we've got uniform, we've got some funding, we've got proper payroll set up, employees, just proper things are in place now, rather than just having like a volunteer coach. And yeah. So what happened? So April 21 started, we started a football session back at Downham, which was our first ever venue. And the session was booming. We were getting like 30, 40 young people. Because young people were ready to be outside and play football and socialise with their friends. I then applied for funding again to Phoenix, set up another session in Bellingham in July 2021. So at this point, we've got 2 venues, and then we've got the weekend sessions. And then fast forward kind of like a year. Within that period, though, that's literally it. It was like 3 nights a week, 2 venues, weekend sessions, and the half program had started by this point, which is holiday program for preschool meals. But I'm thinking, yeah, this is like a big thing that I'm running, but really I'm doing like a few sessions a week. But at this point, I'm not doing the evening sessions anymore. I've stopped doing them because I've realized, okay, I've got to learn to delegate. And if I want this organization to grow, I can't be there all the time. But that was like, it was very weird for me, like going to the sessions when I go check up on the sessions and like the young people didn't know who I was.
Okay.
That was really hard for me because I was like, oh, that is what I'm for. Like they're meant to know me. So there's so many fake, I guess like to talk about kind of the things you want to know about, there's so many phases you have to go through as like a founder compared to like, all right, cool. So at one point I'm a coach, but now I'm not the coach there anymore. So if I want this to be bigger than just me, I need to understand like these young people, they're not all going to know who I am, and I need to like be at peace with that. Really,
Yes.
I'm saying so. So I had to get used to that.
Who was influencing you at this stage? Did you have a mentor?
Not really. No, not really. I wouldn't say I had a mentor. No, there was a guy from Sporting called Mike Reed, who I must say thank you to. So he was he was an infrastructure mentor in terms of that COVID period and helping the infrastructure. But in terms of like the business, once it started running again in April 2021, I wouldn't really. I'd speak to people, but I don't have like an official designated mentor. I guess I'm someone I would say about quite a lot of initiative and common sense. So if I'm dealing with something, I'm thinking, okay, this isn't how it's meant to be, Kieran. So I was getting really stressed out about stuff, about coaches, like kept on contacting me about stuff on the sessions, and I was like, okay, this is how we're going to do it. I'm going to give you the parameters and the framework to deliver, and that's what I want you to do. And then if issues happen, you need to deal with that issue, and then let me know after. Not call me every 10 minutes saying this thing's happened, because that's not what you're getting paid to do, and that's not a healthy way to work, is it? So it was like learning to deal with things and delegating, because I couldn't delegate before COVID. I wouldn't say I could delegate. Now I wouldn't say I'm perfect, but I could definitely delegate more, which I think if you've got 15 coaches, that's kind of a sign. But yeah, so anyway, fast forward kind of like a year to November 2022, I set up a third session at Goldsmiths Community Centre. So at this point, we've got 3 venues. We're doing like 4 or 5 nights a week. There's about 5 to 6 coaches, 4 or 5 coaches, something like that. And then yeah, and fast forward now to what we in June 2025. We're running 17, I think.
Wow.
Last count, 3 sessions a week. So they're free at point of access. When I say free, it's not the number free access sessions. So yeah, 2023 we set up 5 venues. 2024 we set up another 5 venues, and then this year we set up another 1 or 2. So we do, as I said, 17 sessions a week. It should be going up to 19 soon. We're setting up a session in Deptford. Just up a session in Stockport last week, and we've got another one in Borough High Street. So it'll be 19 soon, and that's across 13 or 14 venues it will be, and 5 London boroughs. So we're in Greenwich, Bromley, Southwark, Lambeth, and Lewisham. At last count, we've got about 15 to 16 coaches. A lot of them who've come through the program as volunteers. Some of them are in their 30s, so different age ranges, different experiences. So yeah, I mean, it's a whole different beast to what it was yeah, even 3 years ago.
And what a change in skill set for you, as you say, from going from, you know, being that hands-on sports coach, doing the delivery, inspiring those young people, to now having all that sort of the worry, I guess, of employing all these people, having to be the one to do the funding applications. I mean, where have you got all that knowledge from?
From running it.
From
No,
your
sorry,
lived
are you
experience?
asking like how have I got the knowledge to do all this stuff?
Yeah, yeah. Where have you been able
I,
to
I
draw
think
on?
it just goes back to my story. If you look at it, so from 16 years old, I've been coaching football. I've
Yeah,
studied it at college. I've studied it at university. I've done youth work. I've worked in college gyms. I've done sports development. I've done club capacity building support. Within that time, I didn't really speak about my jobs, but I worked for housing associations, managing funding. I worked for the Youth
right.
Justice Service on a secure school in Medway. Like someone said it to me. They said, "What?" I think the difference. Not, I don't want to try and blow my own trumpet too much, yeah. But I think the difference between me and like a lot of other people in the sector, you've got people that are great football coaches. There's people that are amazing football coaches in the local community, but they don't understand or know about all the back office stuff because
Yes.
they've only ever done coaching. So I get a lot of people that run like private coaching companies, and they'll say to me, "Oh, how did you get funding?" And they don't know anything about that world because their work is in primary schools and soccer schools and development centres and showcase teams and Sunday league teams. So that's a whole different thing to them. So they can't do the back office stuff because
Yeah.
they've got no starting point. They'll be starting from ground zero. And pardon me, then you've got the people that know all the back office stuff. So they're good in office jobs, but they don't know anything about frontline delivery. They don't know what good delivery looks like, what bad delivery looks like, how to recruit staff. They don't have a network of coaches. So I think my USP, I think, is the fact that I'm in both worlds. I've done the
Yes.
coaching, and I could deliver a session to 30 young people, 16 to 19-year-olds, and I'm not going to be there and shrink and feel intimidated. And at the same time, I can go to the Sported Awards last week and speak at Barclays Bank in front of a group of funders and whoever, and still talk well and hold
Yeah.
myself together and whatnot. So that's kind of, yeah, not trying like I'm blowing my own trumpet a bit, but I do think that is kind of what I guess my USP is, and that's why Sports Fund for All has been able to get to where it's got to, and it's been able to grow, but also deliver quality. Because I
Yeah.
think if you've got someone that like is really good at funding, but they can't hold their coaches to account, or they don't know what a good coach looks like, or they can't they set high standards, that then the delivery is not going to be good. But of course, there are going to be people that say Sports Fund for All are not good, but the vast majority of people will say that we do deliver well. We have high standards. We hold young people to standards in terms of their behaviour, and it's not free for all. So yeah, I think, not to go off track, sorry, to answer your question, I just think it's been a combination of what we're looking at 16, we're looking at like 22 years of experience to get to this point. It's not, I haven't just seen something and thought, oh, I'm going to run with this, like this looks like I can set up my own business in this or make some money from this. This is something that I've lived and breathed. I've
Yeah.
never worked in another sector for 22 years. I've done youth work, I said community sports, sports development, but everything's been related to young people and that type of field.
Yes.
So this is not a fad. It's not a flash in the pan. This is what I've lived and breathed for the last 22 years. And yeah, I think I just think all those things coming together is why Sports Fund for All can be so successful.
Absolutely. And I know one of the things that we chatted about in our previous conversations was that transition from being, in your words, just a coach or a
Yeah,
founder to actually calling yourself CEO.
yeah,
In
yeah.
in your eyes, what's the difference between being that CEO and being a founder CEO?
Yeah, so yeah, this is really interesting. I think when you're a founder and CEO, your why. I thought about this a few months ago. What is your why? Like, what is your reason for doing it? Why do you do what you do? And I think a founder's reason is, and CEO's reason, founder and CEO's reason is different to a CEO's reason. The CEO is employed by the trustee board. They brought him in, whereas the founder, he set the charity up, or she set the charity up, and they went and found the trustees and That's how it's come together. So you are the driving force behind everything. So I spoke to someone a few weeks ago, and their charity is shutting down, and I asked them a few reasons why, and one of the reasons they said is the CEO lost drive to keep it running, and I think that's very clear, because if I lost my drive, I don't think Sports Fund for All would continue to run or run as successfully as it has been. And people used to say to me, I think what you've got to be realistic about is you need other staff to come in and do stuff. But when people might say to me, oh, what if you get ill or whatever? Yeah, if I got ill, Sports Fund for All might run, but it's the person who takes over from me, they're covering me if I'm sick or not. Then their why is not going to be the same as mine. So when you're a founder, you came up with the idea, like nobody in the world, nobody told me to set this up. I decided to set this up. And every single session that we run, I thought to myself, that venue is in an area with a lot of social housing, it's deprived, there's no free football there, let's start the session. The council's not coming to me, or these big sports organizations not really coming to me and saying like, yeah, you should do a session here. It's all been led on by myself or my team. Yeah. So it's completely different. It's completely different. And I think that's why we're doing so much sessions, because we can just make it happen. We don't have all this bureaucracy and all this red tape to jump through. And for me, that's kind of one of the best things about it. I don't know if I'm going off track now in regards to your question, but I think that's the difference between a founder CEO and a CEO, because that CEO could be there for 3 years and leave. I've worked for loads of charities. The CEOs come and they go. When the CEO is at that charity, whatever the charity's vision and mission is, that's what the CEO has to embody. But when they leave, they don't embody that anymore. They go to a new charity and then they embody that. Whereas this is what I embody 24/7. Like, I'm about kind of providing free football for young people. From the fact that this is what we're about, giving opportunities to young people.
So what comes next? How do you develop it to the next stage? Is there a next stage, I guess?
Yeah, I think there's always a next stage. I mean, if you look at the program, for example, in April, we delivered, for the first time ever, we delivered outside of Lewisham. So we delivered in Bexley, Tower Hamlets, Hounslow and Hillingdon. This summer, we've also got funding for Ealing. I can't remember off the top of my head, but we've got funding for a few more outside of that. So we've got 8 venues at present for the summer. So that's growth in itself. As I said, we've started a new session in Stockwell, started a new session in London Bridge, we're starting a new session in Deptford. So that will be our 4th session in SE8, which is Deptford. So yeah, there's always going to be growth. I think it might be about bringing on full-time members of staff now. So Elias, who is, I guess you could say, like my right-hand man, he's been with me for 4 years. He finishes university next summer, and I'm looking for him to come on as a full-time member of staff. And then that would then help us to grow more. And he's already doing admin stuff for me outside of his coaching hours, because I'm literally, there's only so much I can do. But yeah, I guess, yeah, 3 years ago, I never would have thought it would have got to this level. So who knows what will happen in another 3 years? Who knows where it can be? And I think what's happening now is I'm not looking for venues anymore. People are coming to me.
Yeah.
And saying, Kieran, do you want to run a session at this venue? Even though I said people are not coming to me, that is happening now, but that didn't happen initially. All the initial sessions we started, I said, yeah, I like that venue, let's start sessions there. It's a good facility and whatnot. Whereas now, so the Stockwell session, another charity was running that session and they can't run it anymore. They approached me and said, Kieran, do you want to take over this session? So now we're running the session. The London Bridge one, we've got a session there on Sunday morning. They said there's young people hanging around on the pitch on a Saturday night. Can you put coaches in there? So now we're running another session there. The Deptford one, that's my idea to run the session there. But people are approaching us now because we're being known as the people for free football.
Yeah,
because I post so much on social media, and the reason I post so much on social media is because we don't have a football club badge. We don't have a big name. We don't have any big celebrities or footballers that are representing us. It's a Sports Fund for All. So we have to do everything we can to promote ourselves, promote our brand, and shout out about our work, because we're doing a lot of good work.
Yeah.
As I'm not sure if I told you, we won a Sported Award last week.
Oh, amazing. No, I didn't
Yeah,
know. What award did you win?
Project of the Year.
Oh, fab.
Yeah,
Who was
yeah.
that? Who gave you that award?
As in which person handed it to us or which organisation?
Oh, sorry, which organisation?
Oh,
Yeah.
Sported. I don't know if you've heard of them.
No, I've not heard of them actually.
Okay, so they're like a national sport for development organisation. So
Okay.
that's not the London award. That's for the whole of
Oh,
the
brilliant.
UK. That's everywhere, and we won the award. So that was a big achievement. That's why I was at Canary Wharf
Yeah.
collecting the award. So yeah, the year before we won the London Sport Awards. The year before that we won a Street Games Award. So yeah, I guess like we have to shout about what we're doing and get that success out there because we're starting from zero.
Yes, you've
And for
not
a
got
long
the.
period of time, I didn't really push what we were doing enough because I couldn't put myself out there because I had these jobs and they were funny about doing stuff on the side. Whereas now, kind of the handbrake's off and
Yeah.
we're going all out and we're gonna put our name and get it as far and as wide as possible.
Oh, that's brilliant. I can't wait to see how it all develops. I just want to pick up a little bit on, you mentioned the sort of red tape of working with when you've worked within other organisations and
Yeah.
charities. Talk me through what you mean by that. What were the frustrations when you were in the sector but not doing it for yourself?
Yeah, so I think if you come up with an idea, you can't implement that idea straight away. You've got to get sign off from your line manager. You may have to get sign off from their line manager. You might have to get sign off, and so on and so on and so on. So yeah, you just can't act on anything really. Maybe now and again, but and then even sometimes you might be working with colleagues and yourself, you think, yeah, this is a great idea, and then you might have three colleagues in your team that want to put in their ideas and whatnot. And some people can work like that, but for me, that's not a productive way of working. I think the proof is in the pudding. I think I've shown that I know what the community needs because the numbers show that, the reach shows that, the delivery, the success shows that. So yeah, I think there is a lot of ego, to be honest with you, within that sector, even though it's a charity sector. I think a lot of people come up with these ideas and they want to be seen to be doing something different or they want to be able to put their name on it and whatnot. Whereas for me, our model is very, very straightforward. I haven't reinvented the wheel. I've worked for Fulham, I've worked for Millwall, I worked for Palace. I've mentioned that earlier. The Kicks program worked. Now I've just taken that and it's not called Kicks, it's a sports time called free football sessions, but that's what young people want in the inner city communities. I'm not trying to implement something, and that's a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of resources get wasted within this sector trying to push programs and ideas that they're not really tangible. They're not going to work in the real world. And I think it's just because people want to say like, yeah, this is my idea and I implemented it. And it's too much of a top-down approach.
Yeah.
And I think one thing about me, when I was working with all these jobs, the clubs, I got on well with them because I think deep down they could say, yeah, this guy's probably more like us than he is like them. And the proof's been in the pudding because I've gone back to that. Even though I'm not necessarily like, I'm not delivering, I'm running a community organisation. And I'm in the community and I'm frontline, so it makes sense that you kind of you get signs in life, and that sector and working in those environments wasn't for me because I'm about action. I can sit here and I can say to you I'm about action, and you can go and look and see that I'm about action because I've taken action over the last 3.5 years to turn us into the biggest deliverer of free football and engage hundreds of young people every week. It's not just talk. Whereas when you're in there's been times when I had those jobs and months would pass, months. And I'm thinking, what have I done? Like, what have I actually done to make a difference? Because, and some people can live their lives like that, but I couldn't. And it has to come a stage where you're like, no, I can't live like this anymore. And yeah.
So why is it that slowness is such a problem when, like when you are working with young people? What's the impact if it doesn't happen straight away for those young people?
I mean, I'm not going to name names, but there's a youth club within South London at the moment, and it started getting redeveloped in 2019. It's reopened now in 2025, and the consultation started in 2015. So there's young people that may have been 10, 9, 8 years old when this consultation took place. They might have carried on and continued to attend the youth club. The youth club's now reopened. They might be 20 years old, so they can't even attend that youth club. So I say this all the time, yeah, incompetent adults, they make an impact on young people. And all this bureaucracy, all this red tape and all these things, it slows down the impact that we can have for young people, whether it's a funder taking 12 months to make a decision, or a strategy coming out that might have an impact on a venue opening, or just all these things. And I guess you get to some people, or I got to a stage in life where it's like, okay, I just need things to happen now. So there's other venues who waited 2 years to get into venues. So that the young people within that area, they can't access that venue for 2 years. That's to the adults, their lives carry on. But those young people, they might have been in year 9, now they're in year 11. They don't want to play football anymore. They've moved on to other things. Do you know what I'm saying? So there's real life impact. And I think, I think the problem is you haven't got enough people in these senior positions that have that frontline experience. And that's not just me saying that from a theoretical perspective. That's from me being within these organisations. The people don't know the real life impact it's having on the people in the community, unfortunately. And that's why these things get dragged on and dragged on and dragged on.
What drives that pace then for you? Where does that come from internally, I guess, for you? And how do you balance that with being that sort of lone driver? It must be hard, mustn't it? I don't know how you do it, really.
Yeah, I mean, I took this on quite a while ago, but there's 2 types of hard life that you can have, the way I see it. You can have a hard life, what I just spoke about, going into a job every day where you don't feel content, you don't feel fulfilled, you don't feel like you're making a difference. Or you can have a hard life where you've got to apply for funding nearly every day. You might get rejected 50% of the time, but you know what you're doing is having a real life impact, it's changing lives, it's making a difference. You can see the impact. You're building something in your community that is crazy. Like, I think about it, like if I didn't set Sport Time Full up, this wouldn't be happening, because you can go looking, like there's not a lot of people doing free football because it's not sexy, it's not attractive. You're not going to create the next professional footballer. So yeah, I guess I'm a very driven person, intrinsically driven as well. And this suits me. Like, this suits my personality more than working in an office where things are working slow and decisions are slow. Like with this, if I decide I want to start a session in, I don't know, Thamesmead next week, I'm just going to go find a venue and I'm going to try and get that funding from somewhere and make it happen. So yeah, it can be hard, but I'm very much at peace and at ease. This is how it's going to be now, and you have to suck it up and get on with it, and think about what the other side is. What's the other side of the coin? And I've experienced that. It's not like I've never worked in these environments, and I know those environments are not for me. I've been there and I've experienced it. So yeah, it can, but it's very rewarding as well, as you'd expect.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, you just got to roll with it.
You're obviously not shy about saying what needs to change within this space. If there was one wish that you had for the sector, you know, in terms of how it could evolve, what would that be?
Yeah, so I've got in trouble for that previously about being outspoken, but even with that, like, it annoys me because I've been outspoken and people have said to me, "Oh, yeah, you shouldn't have said this, you shouldn't have said that." But to me, it's just like these conversations need to happen. Even now, people are probably going to see this, and some people are going to be like, "Oh, like, we shouldn't be saying this," but this is the problem. No one wants to address these issues. And what are we doing this for? Are we doing this for people's feelings or their ego? Because I'm not saying anything personally. This is more about an improvement that needs to happen within the community sports sector.
Yeah.
And what is community sport about? We're about improving the lives of the community, right? So if someone who's been doing this for 22 years can start critiquing all these different things, but I guess that the unfortunate thing is it's very hard to make a difference at the top level. It is very difficult, as I've seen. So all you can really do is control what you can control, which is your organization, your impact. So yeah, there's loads of things that need improving. I think what would be good is with funders. I think a lot of funders, they go for written application, and sometimes people can't write the best application. And my applications are okay. I wouldn't say they're great, but there's people out there that probably can't. Like, English might not be their first language, for example. Yeah, but they run great sessions, or they engage with a big section of the community. What funders need to do more of is actually go out and visit clubs and sessions or organizations.
See the impact that money would have.
And judge it off that rather than because some people can write a great application, but you're going to go to their session and there's going to be barely any young people there. Do you know what I mean? So I think we've got kind of a balance here where we get the numbers and we write okay applications. But there's so many things I could talk about all day, but I think like funders finding the time to go out there, and with local funders you'll get that. So we've had visits from local funders in the last few weeks, and I want them to come.
Yes.
I'm so happy and proud. Like, come to our sessions and see what we do, because once you see it, you're going to be like, yeah, I want to fund these guys because they get good numbers, their coach is a professional, they hold young people to good standards and whatnot. So yeah, I think that's an obvious one. And then just, I guess, in terms of like removing the bureaucracy, removing the red tape, and just, I guess, having people in senior positions that understand frontline delivery more. And yeah, I think that would help as well.
Brilliant. Oh, do you know what? I've loved our conversation. You've got such a passion for the sector, and it's been really fascinating to hear about your journey. So thank you so much for being so honest and sharing your energy with us as well, because I think it's clear that you, like I said, the driving force behind your organisation. Without you, where would they be? So yeah, thank you so much for being on with us today. And I'm hoping, and I'm sure that you have inspired someone that's listening today, whether they're charity leaders, future founders, or someone that's just trying to make a difference in their world. I'm sure they've all taken something from you today. So thank you so much for joining us on Charity Champions. Is there anything else that you'd want to discuss today?
Yeah, I guess just I think anyone listening, I think just listen to what's calling you. I'd say, like, don't ignore it. If something's calling you, just follow it, because I think I was doing this for a long time, but not doing it full time, and it came to a stage where I had to do it full time. But sometimes I think, obviously, everything's got its right time in life, but if something's calling you, then follow it, and don't chase kind of what's in fashion, or don't chase the money. Chase what you're passionate about, because I see so many people, they start stuff and they don't stick with it because it's not what their passion is. Even myself, I've looked at certain things and thought, oh, shall I get into that? I'm just like, I'm not passionate about this. And I think when I got rejected for £500,000 of funding last year.
Right.
Yeah. When I told people, they're like, oh, like their jaws dropped. But if I was doing that in something I wasn't passionate about, I wouldn't carry it on. I'd just give up. Like, I was doing that in, I don't know, applying for contracts to run coffee shops. I would have given up a long time ago, a hell of a long time ago. So people have just got to start being honest with themselves. Like, stick to what you're passionate about. Obviously, you might have your main job, your 9 to 5, but whatever you set up on the side, make sure it's like, they call it your passion project. But if it's going to become a full-time thing, you've got to be passionate about it. But don't ignore what's calling you. Don't ignore it, because I think for a lot of people want to set side things up. But they kind of put it off. But the best time to start is now, even if you're doing a small thing. Because even with Sports Run for All, it was very small at the beginning. But the one thing that it was consistent, it was always there. We didn't take 3 months break. And like I said, I see so many people, they stop. And for me, that would be the worst thing. Like, the day we stop would be the worst thing, because then there's all these young people. What happens then? They just drop. There's where they're going now. So yeah, I guess that's something I can say.
So for people who are listening, if they want to find out more about Sports Fun for All, where can they find you?
Yeah, so we're on Instagram, Sports Fun for All, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, but Facebook's not really great. We post on there, but Facebook engagement isn't great. We're on Twitter. I'm also on LinkedIn, Kieran Connolly. I'm on Instagram, Kieran Connolly CEO. And what's the other one? I'm on Twitter as well, but I don't really Twitter. And the main things that we post on, I'd say, are Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok. And there's various reasons. TikTok is for the young people. That's how we engage with them. Instagram, I guess, is very good for images and videos, and then LinkedIn is obviously for the business world.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
We've also got a YouTube channel as well. That's something I didn't even touch on, about all the money that we spent on YouTube videos, trying to build up our brand and promotion. So yeah, we're on YouTube as well. So you can check out our videos on there. You can see that what I'm saying is not just talk. You can see the videos and the actions in the flesh. So yeah, we're all over social media. We are proper on it with social media. Like, we don't mess about.
Perfect. So if you're
Yeah.
listening, get out there, check them out on all those social